A lot of food, farm, and beverage we do. So mostly around anything that really feeds people. So we'll do all kinds of things inside of that. We do get into other things like automation and quarries and things like that for mezzanines. A lot of wastewater work as well. But those are kind of our customer base.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. Today I'm here with Brandon Stanchock, CEO of SWF Industrial. How you doing today, Brandon?
How are you?
I am good, thank you. Appreciate you spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. Please tell us a little bit about yourself and about SWF Industrial.
Sure. So SWF Industrial has been around since 1984. We are a metal fabrication company and industrial installation. So pretty much anything that's metal that you can't buy in a catalog, we build for our customers. So whether that's retrofit or creating a new line or needing something new, and they go to a catalog and say that doesn't exist, we build that for them. So, and then we also install stuff that we build and other things that the customers need.
Excellent. And what's your background? How'd you end up being CEO of SWF?
Oh man, that's an interesting story. So I spent 10 years in the power construction industry, traveled all over the country, did a little bit of management on that side. And then really this is a family business and we had a need that came about through some succession issues and family things. And so I kind of fell into this role, had a quick learning curve, was terrified the whole way. And here we are 5 years later, figuring it out.
Hey, necessity is the mother of invention, right? So you said mid-'80s. What's the origin story of the company? That's, in this day and age, 40 years is a long life in a business. What's the origin story of SWF Industrial?
Sure. So SWF is Stewart Welding and Fabricating. So Al Stewart, who's my father-in-law, started it in '84 out of a one-car garage. He was actually a metal fabricator at a local metal fabrication company in South Central Pennsylvania. And then when it started himself, started in a one-car garage, became 2 people, 3, 6, and then, bought his first building in '86. So really 2 years later after that, built a new building in 2010. And if you think about that time period, it was only 2 years after the major recession of the housing market. So had the cash to really take advantage of the land grab at that point in time. So so essentially we have 5 bays of fabrication, kept the old building, have the new building at the current time, and have 151 employees currently. So pretty quick growth spurt over that amount of time.
Excellent. And what verticals are you servicing with this business?
A lot of food, farm, and beverage we do. So mostly around anything that really feeds people. So we'll do all kinds of things inside of that. We do get into other things like automation and quarries and things like that for mezzanines. A lot of wastewater work as well. But those are kind of our customer bases.
And what are the most common problems you're solving for these customers?
Anything they can't buy. So it's really they're in a room or they need a solution or anything that requires metal or building or something out of metal that they can't just buy out of a catalog. So we get into really weird stuff, strange rooms, strange solutions. We've taken an empty open warehouse and turned it into a chocolate-filled marshmallow factory. So yeah, we did that during COVID, which was pretty crazy. So anything, we get crazy when it comes to food, farm, and beverage.
You get into the word anything, and good Lord, the days are interesting, I imagine.
Yeah, very cool.
And aside from your ability to do anything, which is pretty impressive in and of itself, what differentiates SWF from your competitors? What makes you stand out?
We've been known for quality for a long time, so we're certainly, I'm going to come out and say, we're never the cheapest. We won't be the cheapest option. Our customer base mostly knows that, but if it's very difficult or it has fine margins, tight tolerances, really needs to be mirror finish, we're worried about bacteria. That's why we do a lot of food, farm, and beverage, because it's very high quality standards for that kind of work. ISO certified, we do RT welds, UT welds, all that kind of fun stuff for testing as well. So we've been known for very high quality. We have high quality fabricators in stainless as well. Stainless is very difficult to work with. When you add heat to it, it moves a lot. So when you're asking for tight tolerances with stainless, that can be difficult. We have a lot of experience in the stainless world as well, which is great, obviously, for food, farm, and beverage.
Excellent. And I know you're in Pennsylvania. There's, Hershey on down. There's a lot of chocolate and other manufacturers and
Yep.
food service companies in your area. Tell me about the COVID years. Tell me about how it was, what the challenges were in terms of sustaining and growing your business through the COVID years.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. We had a lot of food and wastewater work going on at that time. So we were, by the rules of Pennsylvania that came out, we were able to, I mean, pretty much we just asked anybody who was not comfortable coming to work, they stayed home. And we went through that whole process. Anybody who was, we worked with as much as we had. We tried to keep everybody busy, 40 hours a week. We were doing what we could in here to keep ourselves safe, off shifts, all that kind of stuff, to separate ourselves, and just kept kind of trudging along with whatever work we had available and keeping as many people employed until, we could go back to some normalcy to kind of work through that. Because one thing with our industry, well, like many industries, finding and hiring people is difficult, as it is for many people in many industries, but the trades have been probably tough for the last 10, 15 years. That's starting to turn around a bit, but I think it's probably going to take 15 years to dig out of this hole we've built ourselves. So really keeping people and coming out of the back end with as many people as employed as we had in the front end was our key there. So we're just trying to insulate ourselves through that time period.
Well, and you're looking for a very niche skilled laborers, right? It's not the easiest thing to find. I assume there's a fair bit of education going on at your business once people show up.
We do a lot of work with trade schools. Even local high schools have we've seen our local welding schools in this area probably quadruple every year for the last 5 years. So it's really, the trades seem to be, South Central Pennsylvania is really industrial. It's been that way for a long time, mostly Pennsylvania Dutch, hardworking. It's not a huge cost of living for this area. So Hershey and people like that put a lot of their industrial work in this area, which means that you have a lot of companies that grow to support those types of efforts. So we do have a pretty good hold on those types of workers. But yeah, lots of trades. And then when they get in here, lots of on-the-job training, welding training, rigging, fabricating, you name it. We spend a lot of time with new people coming in.
I'm curious. I know there's a lot of retrofitting going on. Old steel mills turned into brew pubs and breweries and things like that. You guys been involved in much of that work?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be exactly, I wouldn't say brew houses or even craft so much. It's right down our alley, process piping and all that kind of stuff we certainly can do. But we get into a lot of retrofit when it comes to, let's say, one candy line needs to turn into a different candy line. We get into a lot of that. So if they want to make a white Kit Kat, you would be surprised at how much has to change, right? To simply change the taste and color and look of certain different foods that we eat all the time. So we do get into a lot of that.
Excellent. All right, switch gears a little bit. It's 2023. We got to tell our story so that people know about our expertise and that they should do business. What role has content played in the growth of SWF Industrial?
Ooh. Yeah, I'm an absolute content. I love all of it, especially being a younger generation person. I gobble all that stuff up. So content for me, really from the company's perspective, we have our main marketing focus that's really geared towards new customers, new business, things like that. And we have another arm of that we're using mostly through YouTube Shorts, where I want to expose people to what it looks like to work in manufacturing. It has a pretty bad reputation, I would say, with younger generations or even their parents, thinking it's dark, dreary, dangerous, robots are going to take over everything, nobody has skill, we treat people terribly. That's not it at all. I mean, it's very clean, it's very technologically advanced. We give great benefits, great pay, all that stuff. So it's not what normally people would think. So that's really the push for us in that content world, because we had some local high school kids do an apprenticeship for a couple of months. And they came out of the back of that and I asked them like what surprised them. And they said how much technology we use, how many young kids are in the industry, and how clean everything was. And I said, well, how do I get everybody else to know that? And they said, put it online. So I said, okay, that's what we're doing.
Hey, the right video content can be great on both sides of the fence. It can show a potential client the level at which you work, but at the same time, you're showing, wow, that looks like an interesting and possibly or probably lucrative career path, right? The more niche a skill set is, typically it pays well.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm not anti-college. I don't ever want to come across that. I'm just pro everybody getting into the right profession that fits them, right? I just want everybody, because kids don't. I didn't know options when I was coming out of high school, right? I just followed the path because I wasn't exposed to thinking outside the box in some of those areas. I just want everybody to kind of have the boxes to choose from.
No, I mean, societally, it's incredibly important for people to do something for a living that means something to them, that they have an affinity for, serves everyone, right? If you do something you can't stand, you're miserable, you're probably not doing the world's best job at it, so you're not serving your clients. It's kind of lose-lose. So, no, this is a new avenue for people to understand that there's money to be made. The service industry is not the coal mines of the 50s kind of thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. Look down the road about a year. What are some things you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally?
Personally, just more traveling. I'm really big into traveling. We do quite a bit of that throughout the year. Gets a bit lonely sitting in some of these, in some of these executive seats. So I need that break. I've figured out my clock's like every, 2 to 3 months, I need a break, just to reset my mind. So I've been trying to focus on that, because I'm a way more happier person and I'm not completely just exhausted from a mental perspective. So really focusing on that. We try to do a good amount of traveling throughout the year. So love that. And I would say from the business side, really just keep on doing the things. I'm a big data centric person. So we're really pushing metrics, refining those metrics, keep teaching everyone those metrics as well. We're very transparent with that kind of stuff as a company. And you can see the language changing. And I love that the maturity scale just keeps going up and up. And we're no longer talking about, Bob and Carl not getting along. And sure, we have some of that, but it's more focused on, okay, how can we change our approach to this to gain this percentage? How can we buy smarter? That kind of language is, I get super jazzed about that.
Excellent. Hey, as I said, sometimes necessity is the mother of invention. You may not have thought of yourself as a CEO, but it sounds like they got the right guy at the helm of this company.
Thank you.
Big time. What is your URL? Where can people find SWF Industrial, and what social media outlets are you using these days as well?
Okay. SWFindustrial.com. So it's very, very easy. You can just type in SWF Industrial. It should come up. And I'm very proud of our website. We just had a rebrand probably 2 years ago and really focused on updating all that. Almost all of our, probably 95% of our images on the website are our people. We have done 4 photo shoots up to this point. And everyone is very apprehensive at the beginning. And then they saw them on the website and it's like the second photo shoot. Everybody's like, I'm ready. I'm all groomed up.
Makeup. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, it was excellent. And most of our social stuff, we're really heavy on LinkedIn. We have Facebook, Instagram as well for the company, and the YouTube shorts. Like I said, is very focused on the work, really atmosphere versus, SWF specifically, because, we could be reaching people all over the world. It may not be people right down the street that need help from us. So we have shipped stuff to California. We haven't got too much into international shipping or fabrication yet, but it's something I'd certainly love to do in the future.
Brandon Stanchock at SWF Industrial, thank you for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas today. All the best to you and yours, and continued success at SWF, and safe travels when you get to it.
Thank you. Thank you, Andrew, for having me on.
My pleasure. Be well.